This month marks about a year since we've been living in a global pandemic, and what a crazy, unimaginable year it has been. Stuck in the confines of our homes with schools and businesses shut down, we've been forced to find new, creative ways to keep ourselves busy. From baking banana bread and making whipped coffee, to binging Netflix and learning TikTok dances. It was the year of Zoom and Google Meets, a year where we all struggled to navigate the use of the mute button, and found ourselves in some embarrassing situations as a result. But it wasn't just this. 2020 was also the year of social activism, a year of protest against racial injustice and police brutality, a year of climate strikes and advocacy for minority groups. With the COVID-19 pandemic, much of this activism and these discussions were moved online. Social media quickly became an even bigger hub for political discourse and debate, with young people in particular being engaged and using their platforms to raise awareness about issues that they are passionate about. Most would see this as a positive trend, and so did I. But I soon realized that what was considered to be social activism on the surface level were really the results of toxic social pressure, which served no purpose. I would see disturbing, graphic images posted online that had no context given about the situation at hand. I would see Instagram chain stories with people posting blank screens with campaign slogans that said, "Justice for this person," or "Justice for this place," encouraging their friends to post the same thing on their stories and to tag 5 more friends to keep the chain going. And of course, the most prominent example, the 22 million black squares posted during Blackout Tuesday, a movement originating within the multi-billion-dollar music industry, with the goal of the industry, which profits predominantly off black culture, to seize its operations for a day to amplify black voices and spread information about the Black Lives Matter movement. However, this initiative reached the general population, and eventually everyone began posting these black squares on their social media, giving no other information other than the Black Lives Matter hashtag, blocking out an important channel of information and resources for the Black Lives Matter movement, ultimately causing more harm than good. These are all examples of performative activism, a type of advocacy done for the sake of increasing one's social capital, rather than out of true devotion to a cause. It's often characterized online as sharing content that has no substance, that does nothing to genuinely educate people, spark a dialogue, or work towards eradicating an injustice. Rather, it's based on a system of exterior validation and social pressure, where people are made to feel that they must jump on this bandwagon of support of an issue, simply because they fear being seen as people who don't care, or fear being antagonized by their peers. It becomes this unspoken competition of who can be more woke, or who can be more visibly informed online, rather than a united commitment towards a cause. This results in social issues and injustices becoming popular trends and aesthetics on social media, trivializing issues that affect real people on a daily basis, while creating the illusion of making a difference, when in reality, no change is actually being made. The way performative activism works to desensitize people to injustice is concerning. Because the fact is that we live in a world that relies on systems that exist solely to benefit the status quo, that serve people who fit in a certain box. In the Western world, that box tends to be defined as the upper class, white, straight, cisgender male. For those who don't fit this criteria, who don't belong in this box, rights are almost never a guarantee. Each one has to be fought for, defended, and advocated for. Even then, progress made is almost never permanent. It can easily be erased. The fundamental rights of minorities are so fragile, they become uncertain, and they become debatable every time we have an election. They become a political issue, when there's nothing inherently political about justice, equality, and basic respect. For those who live outside the box, who don't fit the status quo, social activism is a part of survival. Learning how to effectively advocate for issues that you care about and ones that affect you are an essential skill, has the potential to save lives. However, performative activism portrays advocacy as a hobby or something to be done in one's free time. Though there may not be negative intentions, It centers oneself in a conversation that's based on alleviating the pain of others, exploiting that pain to maximize on social capital in the form of shares, likes, and comments. It's an act that helps no one, and is largely insensitive to marginalized groups who are already in pain. Now, all this begs the question: how can we avoid performative activism, and what can we do to make a difference in a time where attending protests and demonstrations may not be the safest option? When using your online platform to raise awareness or to support a movement, there are two main questions you need to ask yourself when sharing content. Number one is, what are my intentions? When everyone on your social media is talking about a crisis or an issue that's trending, it's easy to get caught up in the guilt of not speaking up yourself. However, if your sole reason for sharing content related to that issue is social pressure, chances are your contributions will be superficial because the focus is on your own feelings rather than helping others. It's important to have this mental check and remember that behind these posts are the stories of people living lives as genuine and as authentic as our own. Without this basic recognition, it's impossible for us to be good allies and good activists. The second question you have to ask yourself is, what effect is my content going to have on my audience? Sharing content that educates your audience on a deeper level or prompts them to take action are most effective, such as petitions to be signed, links to informative workshops, or articles from reliable sources. However, content such as Instagram posts that are inspirational do not have the same impact, as they do nothing to stimulate your audience to support your cause. With all this being said, it's important to note that activism should never start and end at a hashtag or at a post. What is done and said on social media means nothing unless it's integrated into our own lives. This means, first of all, being educated yourself and finding places where you can practice advocacy. Just in the past year, I joined a youth organization called the Written Revolutions, which is an organization that gives youth a platform to share their ideas on social and political issues. Within the Written Revolutions, I work as a columnist. I write articles on issues that I'm passionate about that get published for anyone to read. On a daily basis, I'm able to deepen my understanding on humanitarian crises and injustice in our world, and I'm able to share that understanding with diverse people from across the globe. In this community, I'm able to constantly expand and keep growing my knowledge base. Being well informed, no matter how you choose to educate yourself, is crucial. After all, we cannot expect to be change makers if we don't know what exactly it is that we are fighting for. Finally, we must take action in our own lives, and these do not have to be big initiatives. Taking action can mean calling out friends, co-workers, or family members for their racist, homophobic, or hateful remarks. It can mean purchasing from small businesses rather than supporting large corporations, or switching to makeup brands that are made without animal testing. And though these small lifestyle changes may seem insignificant, small ripples have a tendency to become waves, and waves can make quite the splash. Our generation is often labeled as one that's obsessed with their phones, spends way too much time online, that is addicted to technology. However, I truly believe that if used effectively, our interconnectedness in this digital world can be our greatest strength. They say that youth are the leaders of tomorrow, that we will change the world. And I'm confident that we can make that happen, one step at a time. Thank you.